everyone. Let's continue with Master Hsuan Hua's Chan Qi instructions. I don't think we covered 90 yet. You read it, but I never had a chance to talk about it last night. You read it, but I didn't.
Did I read it? Okay.
I did?
I don't think I read it.
Okay, each and every one of us who return home to cross the world, living the beings in your own personal health, being your own realm of hungry ghosts, and beings in your own realm of animals. Okay, this is why we cultivate. We cultivate in order to help ourselves. And the way Master Hsuan Hua puts it is that it's a concrete. Helping ourselves is actually concrete. It takes, you actually can make a difference. Let's continue.
你在家里边能把自家里三恶道的众生度出来，那就是行菩萨道了。
When you are at home, if you can cross over the living beings in the three evil paths of your own household, then you are truly practicing the Bodhisattva way.
有人又问了，我家里还有三恶道的众生。
Someone again asked, saying, "Are there really beings of the three evil paths in my own household?"
你家里没有，你心里有。你有贪心，有嗔心，有痴心，这就是三恶道的众生吗？
Not in your household, but in your mind. Your mind of greed, mind of hatred, and mind of stupidity. These are just the beings of the three evil paths.
说这个我是有的。那就是要度一度。
If you say, yes, I have these, then you just need to work on crossing them over.
Okay, very good. I just noticed something. Have you noticed anything, anyone? About the people who've been reading the texts for us? I gossip. Yeah, you like that. She says, go ahead, let's gossip for a little bit. Huh? Anyone notice anything? We practice together. I'm sure you're very perceptive, very keen about what's going on around yourselves. Notice any difference? Anything that's changed at all? Nothing? Remember the first day until now? Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. Is it that the person who is speaking the English is more relaxed in her role?
That's right. Okay. First time is kind of nervous. Now it's not just relaxed. I'm trying to teach you to pay attention through your ears. Actually, it's not relaxed, but actually it has more resonance. Yes? Resonance means that it has a base. When you cultivate and you improve, your voice is more resonant. Okay? So I suspect, I haven't seen her yet, but I suspect she's improved. Oh well. Oh well. Oh, that's enough gossiping. Okay? Folks, this is the most important thing I'm teaching you. I don't care about what you can see. I don't care about what your special skills you have before and after. it's worthless to me. Okay, it's misleading, and it gives you a big head and makes you attached to it. Even the old abbot, when he's able to make relics appear, he thinks he's so special. Okay, you cannot help but feel yourself so special because you're different, because you can do things that others can't. You don't have enough wisdom to be able to handle having these skills. It's best not to use them. If they come naturally, it's not a big deal. But if you keep on using these skills, you're going to have problems. You're going to start thinking you're so special. That's what happens to all Master YongHua's disciples. They use it before they have enough wisdom to know when not to use it. I teach you differently. I teach you not to use it until you have enough wisdom to know when to use it. You see the difference in approach? They're stuck. You're not. Be careful. So don't be surprised if you have someone who have some skills that come over and slap me in the face, okay? And make you feel inferior and stupid and so forth. It's just to remind you, don't be attached to these things. They're nothing. What you're seeing, what you're able to see, what you're able to do right now is nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing to be proud of. All right. Going back to slide 91. Okay. So I'm not against it. You're going to be able to see and hear and experience certain things naturally. That's part of the path of the practice. But don't dwell on it. Don't keep on looking and looking and looking. You say, I want to see it again. You're wasting time. If you meditate and you practice and you see things naturally, okay, drop it. Okay? Don't do it again on purpose. Don't be like those losers. And they're comparing against each other with that crap. Okay? My bottom line is that, it's funny, I got into a fight with them, a match with them. I cannot tell you which one, but he's a pretty big guy. And he uses spiritual powers to fight me. And because he's big and I'm tiny, okay? Was a novice then. So he beat on me for about 2 hours. And there was a long meeting, okay, to punish me. and it's silly because they didn't even realize that my confession was nonsense. They couldn't even tell. If you really have spiritual penetrations, how about knowing is it real or not real? Huh? Before you act on it. And so he beat me for 2 hours. I said, after 2 hours, I said, is that all? Is that all? And I was so disappointed. I said, my God, after all these years, this is all you can do to an idiot like me who only had, at the time, I had about 2 years, maybe 2.5. Don't remember anymore. 2.5, and they decided he decided to beat me up and to show who's the boss, and I was forced. I didn't know what to do because I didn't, I made a mistake, but to get out of my mistake, I screwed up. Okay, I lost my temper. In order to get out of my original sin, original mistake, I confessed to something else. Okay, and they were just too glad to beat up on me. So they beat up on me for the whole group of them, and this guy decided to beat up on me for 2 hours. And I took it and said, there's got to be more to this, this kung fu thing here. I'm trying to tell you that all the seeing, all the hearing you see it doesn't matter until your life is in danger, until you're about to be injured. That's the only thing that matters, okay? Can you defend yourself? Lucky for me, a Bodhisattva taught me how to defend myself 6 months before that. Bodhisattvas are fascinating. They taught me things before I needed it. Okay, back to slide 91. You're at home. You can cross for living beings and the threefold paths of your own household. Then you're truly practicing a Bodhisattva way. Okay, the Chinese talk too much. I feel that this is the way maybe Chinese Dharma masters talk. Yeah. And maybe Asian Dharma masters talk. This is what people are used to listening to. I feel this opens the doors for abuses. Because I went to Taiwan, I went to a lot of Asian temples, and if you start telling people that you are practicing a Bodhisattva way, the next thing that the monks and nuns would do is start calling you, lay people, as Bodhisattva. Hello, Bodhisattva, thank you for coming today, how are you? I see it in so many temples, I was shocked. So these lay people walk in the temple and they treat it like Bodhisattva because we talk to you and look at you as if you're a Bodhisattva so already because you are able to cross over living beings and threefold paths in your own household. Seriously? Yes, straight.
Thank you, Master. Samson Lau has a question, and also there's an additional question. Emitofuo, Master, what does it feel like when someone uses their spiritual powers to beat someone up? Is it a physical sensation that you felt?
Well, it happens to you, you find out. I don't want to go into it.
Okay, and then there is...
Because the more I tell you, the more you figure out you have ideas on how to do it.
Okay.
That's not my intention to teach you. I would rather people do it to you like it happened to me, and that's how I understood it happened.
Okay. There's a question from somebody named Tiara E. Shea. What are the best ways to deal with shame?
Shame about what? You can't ask such a vague question. I'm ashamed about this. I'm ashamed about that. Maybe I can give you ideas. So you say shame. In general, shame is a good thing. Shame is actually one of the assets in Buddhism, the sense of shame. Most ordinary people have no sense of shame. In particular, stay away from politics. In particular, people in the world, originally when they're younger, they have a sense of shame because their parents used to remind them. But once they are on their own and they struggle to leave a mark in society for themselves, they find that it's necessary to put on a facade. Okay? And therefore, sense of shame is not necessary. It's counterproductive to their goals of impressing and creating impressing others and creating a good image for yourself. So shame in general in Buddhism is a very good thing. It's an asset you can have. Okay, but so That's all I'm going to say in general. That's it? Okay. Yes, 8.
Master, I remember Sixth Patriarch talk about the 3 evil paths of your own mind, but he didn't put it in the context of practicing the Bodhisattva path. He put it in the context of 众生无边誓愿度.
Yeah, that's different. That's having a big mind where you want, when you see a problem, you want to find a way to fix it, and for yourself first, and then if you're able to help yourself first, then you'll be able to see how you can help others with the same problem as you do. You can't say, and then you practicing, you helping others like a Bodhisattva way here. It's not, to me, it's inaccurate. Okay, the 6th Patriarch is very different. When he teaches, I see his teaching very clearly where he's going. Okay, I'm not sure of Master YongHua. I'm only opening my big mouth here. I'm only telling you because I've been there. I've been inside. I interacted with them, almost all of them. And therefore, I know this is a problem. This is why I don't talk like this. Because I don't want you to think you're Bodhisattva. You're no Bodhisattva. You have no skills. You're useless. You still depend on me. I can't retire yet. You can't tell me that you're good enough to do your jobs. You're still totally dependent on me. How can you possibly be thinking you're a Bodhisattva? You can't help anyone. You help a little bit. So what? It's not enough to call yourself a Bodhisattva. Be more humble, for God's sake. Yes, in the back.
Master, this is also, I encounter back in many Vietnamese temple is that they base on Dharma Flower Sutra, and then they say, oh, I don't want to slight you because you will become a Buddha or something, and then they talk about using the example of the never sliding Bodhisattva, and then they call each other Bodhisattva. So when I first come in and I encounter that, I don't know what to do.
This is a master's job. Okay? You can read of these sutras. Master YongHua too brings up the never sliding Bodhisattva, which is a transformation body of Maitreya Bodhisattva. Okay? Where he walks around and says, I don't dare slide you because you're going to be a future Buddha. Okay? So if you spit on me, you abuse me, you beat me up, I have no problems. Okay? You spit on me, I do nothing, let the spit dry. You kick me, I roll around and I won't even try to get up. Okay? You beat me and I just let it go. Okay? And so that's what never sliding Bodhisattva does. That's what he practices. But don't forget, this is a Bodhisattva, because if I kick you, if I yell at you, do you feel angry? Huh? Do you feel angry? Don't worry about your anger. Don't worry about sliding me yet. It's a matter of degrees. Each Dharma in Buddhism, we have 84,000 Dharmas in Buddhism. And there are so many of them because therefore, at various times in your cultivation path. So it's a master's job to tell you which ones and to remind you which ones not to do. Okay? Yeah. And you're lucky that I went through the Chinese mill. That's for me to see that what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. Okay? And yes, if you quote the sutras, they always sound good. But here's what we do. Here's the only thing that matters. These are words here. Just words. You cross over living being, the three evil paths, your own household. Next. That you practicing Bodhisattva's way. And they actually, those living beings, actually your mind of greed, anger, and stupidity. Okay? My question to you is this. Don't talk too big to me. Don't tell me that I need to cross over my living beings in my mind. They are pertaining to greed, anger, stupidity. Tell me. Tell me what I need to do about my greed. One thing at a time. My greed for, I don't know, tacos? You see? That's when it matters. When you want it so bad and you cannot not have it and you are a slave to it. Your head is so afflicted. What can I do about it? That's what matters to me. Then becomes a matter of life and death. When you talk about greed, anger, stupidity, it's all theory. It's all so abstract to me. Okay? Yeah. And so that's why I called the typical way of speaking Dharma from the Asians is they speak big times, they use big words, but to me, it doesn't do much for you, and it gives you a big head. It inflates your ego. What I want to do with you, I've been doing the last 20 years, 19 years, is that when you have a problem, okay, I look at you and try to help you and make sure your ego doesn't grow bigger. And when it grows bigger, I beat you up and remind you, you're not supposed to be more egotistical because you are able to overcome one small problem and one small step of improvement. It's nothing to be proud of. It's nothing. You ain't seen nothing yet. You're capable of so much more if you only allow yourself not to make mistakes in stopping you from getting up there. I used to love Master YongHua's instruction because he's the one who says, cross your legs, endure the pain, because no other Dharma masters would say that. I loved it. Okay? And then I had some guest monks who, Sri Lankan monk in particular, have a master's in Buddhology, Buddhism in his own country, came to my temple because of an introduction to through another Sri Lankan monk who has a PhD here. And apparently he expected me to pay for his PhD program, which I quickly said no. So he left not very long after. Bloodsucker. And so he's a master in Buddhology, in Buddhism now. So during our Dharma talks, people would ask, I have this problem. I have a problem with my daughter. What do I do about it? He says, this is exactly what the Buddha is talking about. You are suffering, aren't you? The Buddha talked about suffering. He went on and on about suffering. Nothing about what to do with my daughter. Okay? See? My style. If you haven't noticed, you see, I don't talk to you about the 3 points. I talk to you very generally, vaguely like this. But I don't dwell a lot of time on it. I'd rather you look at one thing at a time. Whatever really bothers you, Is it your anger? That's my case. I've been working on that for all this time. I still, not making much progress. I admit to you. But greed, I'm much better. I can get by without a red car for 20 years. Okay? You see, if you're able to work on one at a time, yes, there are 3 poisons that really are making life miserable for you. Okay? That's talk. But I want you to know how it feels when you're able to tackle one greedy problem of yours that really, really bothers you. Yeah, we're all greedy for all kinds of things. Of course, I'm greedy for a red car. As a reminder for all of you, but you give me a temple, I even like it better. Give me a yacht, I'd love you to death. Okay? I'm greedy, but I only want to tackle one greedy problem at a time. Don't tell me about the greed that's insatiable for me that I've been building up for billions of lifetimes already. It's not that easy to undo. Okay? I'll teach you about what afflicts you so much that you can no longer function as a human being, as in your transits. That's what matters. Okay? And that's how I've been training you all these years. We do it both ways. We do it like listening to my YongHua because I want to learn, because he's a master, he's a patriarch of Wei-Yang lineage. I want to learn how he did it, how he chose to do it, okay? But we also got out from under his shadow, okay, and do it our way, because I saw the end result of his teachings. Impressive results. The disciples got to pretty impressive levels, okay? Sound cultivators, but they have flaws there that prevent them from getting further. They should have gone further after he's gone. I'm holding myself back. I wanted to tell you more, but let me not. The more I tell you, the more I reveal my secrets. Okay, and so we're learning from that. We're learning from the Wei-Yang training, what he did for his disciples in order to bring his disciples to that level. Okay, and you guys can use it because in the future you may want to have disciples, and you should feel the responsibility to help them, okay, in building their skills. That's the bottom line, okay? Knowledge, you can go to college, you can pick up a book, and you can talk to people, they can tell you. But what we do is help you build your Kung Fu. Okay? And that's the bottom line. It's not the words anymore. It's how you live your life. Live your life better. Be happier. Feel the peace. And as people like to say, feel the peace and the love. Okay? Being 3 evil paths, that's on your mind, of the 3 poisons. And then you have to cross them over. You see, you want to talk them over. I want to teach you in a more humble way. Don't try to cross them over. It's your problem. Okay, you're greedy, and if you don't like yourself like that, work on it. That's all. Don't worry about anything, too many things at a time. We only have so much. We can only handle so much. Okay? Yeah. So in general, yes, as a philosophy, as a general approach. As a strategy, is we want to handle our three poisons. That's why we need to listen to Dharma talks, learn about sutras. But there's something called, in the Chinese teaching is called Dao Shi. Dao Shi is the guiding teacher. The Buddha is our Dao Shi. He's our guiding teacher, meaning that he guides his disciples. When he was alive, he was guiding them personally, using his spiritual penetration, using everything he had. Now he's dead. He's guiding us through his teachings as well, and through his disciples. Okay, that's a concept of guiding teacher. The teacher must guide like the Buddha. Guiding means that he knows the way. He knows how to do it. Okay? And leads you through all these pathways, all these trails on how to get to your goal. That's a guide. Okay? And in boxing, what do you call these guys? These guiding teacher? A coach. Huh? A coach. He teaches you about you. Okay? You like to eat too much, therefore I'm going to put you on a diet of so many calories per day until you get that, and work out and so forth. So he builds up your skills, okay? And then tells you how to defeat your opponent. That's a guide. Same thing in Buddhism. We need to help you build a base for yourself, okay? Like a coach. You need to build yourself up. You have certain things. You have weaknesses. You need to get rid of your weaknesses, okay? For them, teachers, they tell you about your strength. I tell you about your weaknesses because it's your weaknesses that will get you in trouble, that will you stop death in your tracks when the time comes, okay? Your strength, you don't need any help from me, okay? Your weaknesses, so we help you overcome your weaknesses, okay? Build up your base, build up your strength, build up your resilience like a coach, and then how to defeat your opponent. Who is your opponent? Yourself. Your afflictions. Your afflictions are very harmful to you, a lot more harmful to you than you realize, because you all have always lived your life with so many afflictions already. You're so used to it. They're your best friends to you. Okay? They're very harmful to you because the afflictions are based on the three poisons. Your afflictions are creating seeds for you to experience great sufferings in the future. Go ahead, 3.
Thank you, Master. There's a couple questions. Diego Alfonso says, Emitofuo, Master, for someone to say that he or she is a bodhisattva without being one, is that to break the precept of no lying?
Yes and no. Just be humble. It doesn't matter. If they break precepts, it's their problems, none of our business. But we only worry about ourselves, okay? If people say they're bodhisattva, it's fine, okay? If they choose to say so, if I brag, it's my problem, okay? But you yourself worry about your own problems. Don't brag. Don't claim you're a Bodhisattva. If you're really a Bodhisattva, you never claim you're a Bodhisattva. Okay?
And there's one other from Carol Wang. Emitofuo Master, if someone died and went to Pure Land, does he or she still need a grave? Is there any spiritual thing related to this person left in the Saha world if she is in Pure Land?
How do you know that he goes to the Pure Land? First things first. There's an assumption here, this person goes to the Pure Land. How do you know he goes to the Pure Land? If he doesn't go to the Pure Land, he needs a place to stay. So a grave is a good thing to have. A home you can go back to. Okay? Be careful about your assumptions. But if you are able to go to the Pure Land, then the grave doesn't matter at all to that person. On the other hand, the grave matters to the people who are still here. It's important for the surviving family members and relatives to have a place to go to so that they can get together and bond over using you as an excuse. To me, that's useful if done properly.
Master, and then we got a response from Tiara, who had the question about what to do about shame. She says, yes, I feel like I haven't done enough with my spiritual gifts to help my family and community grow spiritually. I was angry about being the only one who seemed to care. I feel spiritually stuck, and that's where my shame lies.
Still too vague. Okay, your spiritual gifts, what are they? Can you see my past? Can you see my future? What is your spiritual gift? It's way too vague. Okay. All right, moving on. The end of the tape, of the file. Is there a next file? Okay, next. Okay, continue.
现在再讲一位法师，高僧。这位高僧呢，也是晋朝的，在长沙寺。
Now let's talk about another Dharma master, an eminent monk. This eminent monk was also from the Jin dynasty. He was from Changsha Temple.
His name is Tanjie. 这一位高僧，他是河南人，南阳就是河南。他姓卓。
His name was Tanjie. This eminent monk was from Henan, Nanyang, city of Nanyang in Henan province. His surname was Zhou.
在这个没出家以前呢，他是一个做官的兄弟。
Before he left the home life, he was the brother of a government official.
但是他家里很穷的，虽然很穷，但是他很欢喜读书，把这个3分5点他都读了。
But his family was very poor. Though very poor, Mr. Zhuo was very fond of reading. He read 3分5点. He read all of them. Additional explanation. The books written by Fuxi, Sheneng, and Huangdi are called the Three Tombs, which refers to the Great Way. The books written by Xiaohao, Zhuanshu, Gaoxin, Tang, and Yu are called the Five Classics.
Okay.
Source from Wikipedia.
Okay.
坟是坟墓的坟，3分5点就是中国的书的名字。
Fen is the same fen as in the word fenmu. 3分5点 are names of ancient Chinese books.
坟呢是坟墓的坟，典呢就是经典的典。
Fen is the same fen as in the word fenmu. Dian is the same dian as in the word jingdian.
3分5点，人家读的书啊，三个坟，在3个坟里头那么多。
3分5点, the books people read. The Three Tombs. Within the Three Tombs, there are so many books. Additional explanation of the Three Tombs. The term fen, meaning tombs or mounds, in Sanfen is symbolic rather than literal. It refers to the enduring legacies or buried wisdom of the three sovereigns, Fuxi, Sheneng, and Huangdi. In ancient Chinese thought, a tomb can metaphorically represent the place where important knowledge or heritage is preserved. Much like how wisdom or cultural foundations might be buried in the past, but remain accessible through study and reverence. Thus, tombs in this context signifies a repository of ancient knowledge passed down from these legendary figures, rather than actual burial sites. It underscores the idea that their teachings are part of the foundation, a foundational heritage of Chinese civilization, preserved and passed on for future generations. Source ChatGPT.
5点，这个就是5经4书之类的，也叫5点。
Wudian, this refers to genres such as the 5 classics and 4 books, also called Wudian.
8所9丘，这个中国人读书读多了，这叫8所9丘。
A Chinese person, when they read a lot of these ancient classical books, they are called 8所9丘. Additional explanation. When people are referred to as 8所9丘, it often implies they possess deep and extensive knowledge, particularly of ancient texts, historical geography, or administrative systems. This reference suggests that the person is familiar with the complex and nuanced divisions of land or categories that existed in ancient China, symbolizing wisdom, scholarship, or expertise in these fields. Here's a breakdown of the possible connotations. – 'Expertise in ancient systems. The 8 cords and 9 hills were part of ancient geographical and administrative classifications, so calling someone Basuo Jiuqiu may imply that they are well versed in ancient Chinese history, geography, or statecraft. Scholarship and knowledge. In classical Chinese culture, being knowledgeable about the complex divisions of the land, governance structures, and methodology was highly esteemed. Referring to someone in this way could be a form of high praise for the intellectual depth. Metaphorical meaning. Since the phrase itself represents order and division of land, it may also be metaphorically used to describe someone who can bring order to complexity or who has a deep understanding of intricate systems. In summary, people referred to as Basuo Jiuqiu are likely being acknowledged for their deep intellectual capabilities, particularly in the realms of ancient Chinese history, geography, or administration. Source GPT, ChatGPT.
错是说错，或是是这个一条锁的锁。
Saying, saying, saying. It means the shuo suo as in a thread in a single rope.
连起读的这个书好像一条锁似的，音12音元又叫铃后位。
Basuo Jiuqiu. When people go to read these books, it can be likened to links in a chain, one after another. Link, link. The 12 conditioned links is also called a link.
Okay.
Disciple.
Okay. Let's go back. Oh, how interesting. Thank you for the opportunity to learn about the Chinese culture, Asian culture. Of course, you Asians know about this already. Yeah? Yeah? Chinese people? No? My, have they lost their heritage? Okay, so he's continuing with speaking about another eminent monk. I think it's a good thing to do. We need to recognize the sages, these people who have wisdom, and not only wisdom, but they have accomplishments as well. Okay, it's not all talk. Okay, people who have wisdom actually have to use the wisdom to do something to help others. Okay, that's what matters. So whatever skills you have, ultimately, how much can it help others? Okay, that's our standards. So if it cannot help that many people, like if they're sick, can you help them? If they are in trouble, can you help them? Okay. So these eminent monks are the standards for us. We should learn about these famous personalities, the real sages, so that we can learn from their examples. Each sage that appears in the world is for the purpose of teaching us. All the Bodhisattvas came to our world in order to make suggestions for us on how to be like them. So that's why the Chinese wisdom that I learned is that you pay heed to these words of the sages, and then you, number two, you pay attention to what they say. Number two is you get to be at par with their levels. Okay, so that's my slight interpretation of the Chinese expression. When you see a sage, sage's behavior, you look at yourself. That's very profound. Okay, and then you should fear the opinions and the judgments of the sages, because most of us in the modern times really have no real respect for anyone at all. Okay, all here in our culture is about maximizing our benefits. In particular, in the business world, how much money do you have? How much power do you have? That's all that matters. Okay? If you have a lot of money, then people look up to you. If you have a lot of power, then people will kowtow to you. And so the standards are off. The standard is that the sages set the standards for us for personal achievements. Okay? It's not material things. It's about personal conduct. Achievements and their conduct is about helping others. All right? In all these stories, they're doing something. They did a lot of big things to help others. Yeah? And they had to fight through very difficult circumstances to rise from their difficult conditions to be able to contribute to society. All right? And so this monk here is from don't know his name yet, is from the Qin dynasty at the Changsha temple. The name is Dan Jie. And it's from Henan area, Nanyang, in Henan province, the city of Nanyang in Henan province. His family name was Zhuo. Okay, and before he became a monk, he was a brother of the government official. Okay, so he's from good breeding, good stock. His family is very poor. Though very poor, Mr. Zhuo was very fond of reading. This is one thing that I feel that we need to encourage our children to do more. Okay, when they're younger, before when they go to bed, you go and read to them. It's very helpful, trust me. Okay, and you can go to the library and ask for the librarian to give you a list of books depending on the grade of your children, which your children goes to. They would recommend you a list of books so you can read for them. You can check out from a library. Okay, I feel the reading is so important. I can't stress enough. Okay, you need to read more. If you haven't read more, it's because your parents haven't taught you about the love of reading. Okay. This is one of the things you can do for your children. Teach it to them when they're still young. When they're still young, read them stories. Even like the little girl right there, okay? We can show her simple books with drawings, with illustrations and so forth, and start teaching them and to enjoy the books and to enjoy reading. It's an essential skill for all of us. And although very poor, but you see, he has a blessings already. When you're poor, I imagine, when you're poor, the last thing you worry about is teaching your children how to read. But this guy here, Mr. Zhuo, naturally enjoyed reading. Okay. When I was younger, I enjoyed reading because I had depression. That was my way to escape reality and feel better. Okay, but he read. I wasn't told that I was supposed to read these things. San Fen and Wu Dian. Okay, and these are actually the important works in China, in Chinese culture, from the sages. These San Dian is three tombs, books from these how I don't know. I don't know how to read these things. Gao Xin. Yeah. Okay. These are actually Fu Xi, Shen Nong, and Huangdi. Huangdi was the Yellow Emperor, and he was a sage. He came to China and taught the Chinese about herbal medicine and a lot of stuff, farming. Shen Nong, it was a guy, I think, correct me, Chinese-speaking people, Shen Nong is the one who taught them about farming, no? No? You don't even know. Shen Nong, Fu Xi. Okay, so these are three tombs and the five classics. So these, I believe, are the works from the sages. In the Chinese culture, a lot of bodhisattvas came to China and taught them a lot. Even Master YongHua came to China too, to taught them a lot of skills as well. Not only China, but they also went to all over the world, whether it's China, or whether it's Korea, or whether it's Vietnam, and so forth. We have a lot of sages that contributed to our various cultures. It's a good thing. That's why they're dead, and therefore the only way for you to access them is through reading. Yes, 3.
Thank you, Master. Tiara replied to your question about what spiritual gift does she have. She says, I have the gift of foresight, and perhaps I should speak to someone about my experiences. I definitely need guidance.
Yeah, be careful. Be careful that when you have a little bit of foresight or some insights, it's a natural thing, and don't let it stir you in the wrong direction. Fen is the same fen as in the word Fen Mu, or tomb. So these are the famous Chinese books that back then, if you're able to read, you want to read these things. Okay, so these words of the sages put you in the right frame of mind, and is a good foundation for you. So that's why reading is such important skill to have, and start with the parents reading to the children and telling them about stories, and they get to enjoy themselves. Okay. The word 经典, 坟墓经典, and so forth. So 三坟五典, the books that people read, the tombs, and I love these references. Thank you for taking the time to do that. As you have noticed, I love learning more every day. That's part of my fun. And not all, when I come here, I learn from you, learn what matters to you, and learn from the old sages as well, from like great Master YongHua and all these great sages in your cultures. Tombs is, so you read it, you understand the thing. The tomb refers to a store where they preserve the classical heritage they have that's buried but still accessible. And the classics are written by the sages, and you actually are revered and highly regarded because you are able to read. Back then in China, not many people can afford to read, and if you're able to keep it up, that means you're able to understand and penetrate the meaning, and therefore you can think. You can process complex things, complex issues. And those are, and that's wonderful. Thank you for the explanations. Are we there, or we not there yet?
2 more slides.
Okay. Saw is a thread and a single rope. 八所九就. So these people have a certain name. The Chinese call them certain names in China, okay, in Chinese, and so it's about these people who are part of, because they read these classics and are able to follow the classics. They're part of a chain of knowledge, of a chain. That's how the wisdom from the ancients are passed down to the future generations, and they preserve it. Okay, and that chain is very important. Okay, the chain of your heritage, a chain of your strength, of your cultural and ethnic identity. It's a good thing. Okay, and Master YongHua says a chain there is like a link of 12 conditioned links. Okay, because from the chains there, if you learn from the prior generation, like we're doing right now, from Master YongHua's generation, that we try to pass down to you, that's taught to my generation, we try to pass down to you, and we reinforce it in our own ways so that to make it more useful to you. Okay? Next.
这个 chain 这个八所九丘就好像杀人似的，杀人丘。这个叫三分五点八所九丘。
This 八所九丘, Qiu is like a mountain, a hill. This is called 三分五点八所九丘.
读书读得多就这样，等他读这么多书，生性很沉静。
Reading a lot of books is referred to as just this. So he read many books and was naturally very quiet.
谁也不知道他读的这么多书，他也不宣誓，也不对人说我读书读最多了，不讲。
No one knew that he read so many books. He didn't show off, nor did he tell people he had read more books than anyone else. He didn't say this.
Okay, let's go over these 2 slides here, a few slides here. Only if you have a chain. I don't know where this comes from. It has nothing. Well, we missed probably the background information. So Master YongHua talk about these people here, the special people that the Chinese recognize as 八所九丘. So these are 三分五点. These people can read the 三分五点, these these special works of Chinese wisdom. And so, you see, he was able to read a lot of books, but very naturally, very quiet. It's funny because if you were born into a poor family, okay, it would be very rare for you to be reading books because your family is lacking in many things, and you, of course, would like to have more candies, more things, but your parents cannot afford it for you. So I think usually it's very unusual for a poor family, a kid from a poor family, to love reading. Okay, usually kids from well-to-do family would love reading, but not kids from poor family. So to me, this is part of his formation, where he went into, he was born into very difficult circumstances, and it sounds like he has depression as well, very quiet, and keeps things to himself. Okay, and the only entertainment he had was to read books that he enjoyed. Okay, you read because once the kids learn to read, he keeps on reading is because it's enjoyable. Okay, so he enjoys reading, and he's very quiet, probably because of depression. Family is too poor, so difficult, so many challenges. No one knew he had read so many books. He didn't show off, nor did he tell people he read more books than anyone else. He didn't say this. Of course not. When your family is poor, everyone else looked down upon you. They said, you're a poor family, okay? You're poor. So of course not. There's nothing, not a whole lot you can brag about. So if you read a lot of books, big deal. But you read a lot of books, you still are hungry. Never mind. Okay, so it's not a whole lot for him to brag about. And to me, this is his blessings. Okay, he was put in the circumstances that did not add to his arrogance, promote his arrogance. Okay, this is one of the characteristics of those with blessings. They're born into difficult circumstances, and they never lose their identity. They're not arrogant in particular, okay? Because that's an important aspect of it. The more arrogant you are, the more actually you are suffering. Poverty is a lot of suffering, okay? But arrogance is even worse form of suffering. Continue.
有一次呢，有一个法道法师讲放光般若经。
One time, a Dharma master named Fa Dao was lecturing on the light-emitted Prajna Sutra.
他因为穷得很厉害呀，自己想去听经，穿着破衣服也不好去，向他朋友借了一件衣服去听经。
He was extremely poor. He wanted to go listen to the sutra lectures. However, wearing tattered clothes was inappropriate, so he borrowed an outfit from a friend to go listen to sutra lectures.
去到那一听经呢，他就赫然了悟了。
When he arrived there, he listened to the sutra lecture and suddenly became enlightened.
啊，原来这个佛法是这么妙，所以啊， 就不做在家人了。
It turns out that this Buddha Dharma is so wondrous. Therefore, he decided not to be a lay person anymore.
做出家。做出家人，他也拜这个道安法师做师父。
He became a left-home person. He also bowed to Dharma Master Daoan and took him as his teacher.
Okay, let's go back. Okay, so Dharma Master Fa Dao was lecturing on this sutra, the Fan Guang Bo Re Jing. This is probably from the Prajna teachings, the Prajna role, Prajna division, and that teaches about enlightenment, teaches about the Bodhisattva vehicle. There's a Dharma master who is lecturing on about a Prajna sutra, which is a Bodhisattva vehicle. You may want you to hear the name, Light Emitted Prajna Sutra is a good thing. And he was poor, so he had to, he was interested in going to listen to the lecture. But his clothes were not appropriate, so he borrowed some clothes from a friend so that he could go attend the lectures. Wow, I'm so impressed. I don't know how old he was, maybe like 18, 20 or something. At the time, he was still wearing tattered clothing. That's how poor he was. Lived his young life in poverty, and but his interest was kind of interesting. He was interested in profound things than worldly things. Okay, and so it's a case of someone who's oppressed by his circumstances, but never really allow the difficulties to confuse him. And that's blessings, folks. If you have blessings, the circumstances actually prepare you for being more humble and more pliable, more flexible. When you have everything, then you're so brittle because you're not used to suffering. If you're so stuck on not suffering, then you become weak and you become brittle. You can break very, very easily. Pay attention to that. That's why these folks, these sages, they're born into difficult circumstances for a reason. They're never daunted by the difficulties and the sufferings they have to endure, because their sufferings, their blessings allow them not to be overwhelmed, not to be confused by their lacking of necessities. This person is something else, let me tell you. It's a very difficult thing to do. And so he has extremely good blessings to be able to survive difficult and grow up in difficult circumstances, and then find interest in the work of the sages, and ultimately enjoy the Bodhisattva Vehicle Sutra. This is fascinating. And when you listen, and this is, he went to listen to the sutra lecture, and he suddenly became enlightened. I'm not sure what he means by, Master Sri means by enlightened. Okay, likely, most likely, at least first stage arhat. Back then, this is long, Jin dynasty. What year, what century is that? Okay, and those are early days in China, and so Buddhism was sort of its infancy, and they already have the Prajna's teaching translated into Chinese, and therefore, I imagine that he should be at least first stage arhat or fourth stage arhat. Not sure.
So Jin dynasty is from 266 to 420.
Wow, that's very early. That's even before the sixth patriarch, right? Way before. Sixth patriarch, like 6th or 7th century, right? Okay, so back then, at the early days of the translation of sutras, they really didn't have much in terms of cultivation, and he zeroed in on the Prajna Sutra. And listening to Sutra, he reached certain enlightenment. That's blessings again. Isn't that cool? Remember, your blessings is something you carry with you. Lifetime after lifetime. It's your capital. Okay? It's your real wealth. Not money, not material things. The material things and money are just the manifestations of your blessings. Don't lose sight of it. It's important to have material things, red cars and houses and so forth. Houses can be burned down. Cars too can be stolen, okay, and be burned down, okay. But your blessings cannot be burned. Unless you know how. All right? So he became enlightened. So the sutra has a function. The Buddha's teaching is very, very powerful. I can imagine back then, even though the sutra was translated poorly from Sanskrit into Chinese, I would suspect the translation was not that good. Okay? I would not be surprised. But even so, okay, they're very, very helpful. With those sutra translations, it's unlikely you become a bodhisattva right away. Unlikely. Okay. But it's possible. But certainly you cannot become a Buddha right away. And so that's why, even though, just to make sure I correct myself, make sure people are not don't misunderstand me. I criticize Master Chinua disciple translation is because in the interest of trying to render the translation more accurate, to reflect the Dharma better. But their translation is excellent. I did give them an A, okay, where they are so helpful. They're so much better than anything else. If anyone who wants to learn Buddhism in English, I would point to them right away without any hesitation. Okay, but if you want to go higher levels, you have to go back to Chinese. I've always maintained it, because high-level translation for high-level practices, they don't get it because those translators did not understand, okay, the Dharma in Chinese. All right, so he reached Sat Enlightenment. Sat Enlightenment here is when the Dharma is spoken to you and you are able to reach Sat Enlightenment. Sat Enlightenment here refers to you being able to open transcendental wisdom. Okay, not worldly wisdom, but transcendental wisdom, meaning the kind of wisdom that will help you rise above the ordinary. Worldly wisdom, you still with the ordinary and the commoners. Doesn't matter who you are. You could be a president, could be the richest man in the world, you're still a commoner. But transcendental wisdom is something that put you in a different class altogether, where we pay attention to you. Okay? Buddhas and Bodhisattvas start paying attention to you and invest more time in you, because you are becoming an asset for society, whereas the other people, the ordinary folks, the common folks, they are a menace to society. And it turns out he fell in love with this. He felt that Dharma was wonderful, that he decided to shave his head. Okay, another aspect of blessings. If you have blessings, you would not hesitate to shave your head. Some people would take a long time before they shave their heads for the wrong reasons. This guy here, he shaved his head immediately. Impressive. Okay? That's why in Buddhism, they teach you about two things. Two things, your real assets are in two things. What are they? One is blessings, and the other, they talk about Buddhas. Buddhas have two things, blessings and wisdom. That's your biggest assets. Okay? Your blessings are forever. Your wisdoms are also forever. Your position, your money are not forever. All right? So he became a monk. And another thing is interesting, this guy has so many interesting things for an early days of Buddhism. It was very impressive. And he bowed to Master Tao An. Tao An was a very famous monk. Very ugly, but very well known. And he's famous to the royalties, to the emperors or whatever, and the kings, and therefore he's a good stock to be able to be called as a disciple of Master Tao An. And when you say, I'm a disciple of Master Tao An, then you are of good stock. Like the other day, and now he's gone, we can badmouth him, talk about him on his back. Remember there's a Chinese guy who asked me a question and disagreed with me about Confucius from WMT, from here. I don't see him here anymore. And he talked about 10 minutes explaining to me that Confucius, all the great teachings of Confucius, I really liked it. Okay, he was so well read. Okay, and and I was surprised. I said, "Wow, this guy is opinionated." Okay, he didn't get what he disagreed. I said, "Yeah, your reading is correct." Okay, but he didn't quite get my criticism of Confucius, and of course, I guess he was unhappy, whatever the reasons, I think he was unhappy, unimpressed that I would dare criticize Confucius. And only because he didn't understand what my criticism about Confucius was about. But, and then later I was told, you know who he is? No. His teacher, his monk somewhere here in our area, is a disciple of Master Xu Yun. So he's the same level as I. See, Master YongHua is a disciple of Master Xu Yun, therefore he and I are the same level, same generation. Wow. The Buddhists, they do that, They go with the older monks. When my father, who came to Buddhism later, my late mother would bring him all the way to find an obscure monk somewhere so that he's got a name of the same generation as she got from, meaning that generation is way up there, okay? Not like us. All right, and so you see, so his master was a disciple of Master Xu Yun, okay? And therefore, he and I are the same generation, okay? And what I've seen so far, Master Xu Yun disciples don't really have a lot of Kung Fu. I lucked out, I met Master Sheng Yi, who is a senior disciple of Master Xu Yun. I think he's the number one disciple, the most senior disciple of Master Xu Yun. But his formation was, he got to 6G because he left Master Xu Yun. He really didn't practice under Master Xu Yun that much, okay? And the other disciples of Master Xu Yun, for some reason, they don't have a lot of samadhi power, which I saw in that kid. I mean, my peer. Okay? And so, Master Tawan was a big monk, and therefore, like Master Xu Yun, once you come from that furnace, you are good steel, you're good stock, okay? And he was a disciple of Master Tawan. Wow, he found all the good masters. All right, we have a few more minutes. Anyone has any questions and comments? If not, we can go to the next section. Anyone? I have 4 more minutes. No? All of a sudden, no more questions? I'm
sorry.
Come on, ask me one. It must be something that bothers you today at work.
Emitofuo Master, I was just sitting right now, and I kind of had what I can only describe as I don't know, a seizure. I don't know. It's very weird. My mind, he was just singing to me, I wasn't able to think anymore. I feel like I was about to pass out.
Yeah.
Normal? Question mark.
When you sit, pay attention to who you sit next to. The guy you're sitting next to is probably feeling very faint right now. He says, I don't feel good, I want food. These people, when they fast, they're not good. It's not good to sit next to them. They suck up your energy. They have no energy. So it's like, I like to give this analogy. You have two glasses. One is full, one is not full, is empty. You connect them. The water level here will go down, and this water level from 0 will go up until it's the same level. He's sucking up all your energy. When he listens to lectures, you guys don't realize it, but when we do a lecture like this, okay, he's absorbing all the positive energy to energize him. People don't realize it. So it's like blood transfusion, if you will, the qi transfusion, where you're low in your own qi, so you suck it up from others. That's a natural thing. Try sit a little bit further and see if it helps. Yeah, we can help. You sit next to someone who's stronger than you, it's the same thing happens to the strong person. You get sucked up. Okay? So that's why. That's usually what happens. Yeah. Okay. We stop here tonight. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.